Welcome back to the show. It's your boy Johnny P. Last week, it was a solid card. We had Usman 1 unit. What are you going to do? It sucked. He looked kind of good in the 5th round. Dracus looked like he actually practiced wrestling over the last year. And Usman, it still was a good fight. I don't think he's washed by any means, but we lost 1 unit. So what are you going to do? That puts us at 13-3-1 over the last 2 months. We're still killing the books. Let's move forward now. This week, it looks like a pretty good card. We got Ankalaev, and it was supposed to be Khalil Roundtree Jr., but he faced an injury. Guskov is stepping in, short notice. Bogdan. I mean, it's an interesting fight here. We got a really good striker in Bogdan. We got a really good counter striker in Ankalaev, and he also has some wrestling abilities. So we're gonna break down 3 fights here. We're gonna break down the main event, the co-main, and then I got my favorite play on the card. We're gonna break that down at the end. So main event. Magomed Ankalaev is taking on Bogdan Guskov. The market opened at -450. It's ticked up to -500. I thought a fair price was somewhere in the -4 to 5 range. So again, we're looking right at what I think it should be. The market suggests it should be. Short notice fight. Ankalaev's fought the who's who in the division. He just fought Pereira twice. He won one of them. He's fought Alexander Radek, he's fought Johnny Walker twice. Obviously both times Walker had no shot. But he's fought the who's who of the division, and he's looked good doing it, and he's an amazing counter striker. On the other side, we have Bogdan. He just recently had the draw to Blachowicz, which he was scheduled to fight Blachowicz again coming up here, but now he's moved into this position. He looked kind of good against Blachowicz. I had Blachowicz in that fight, and the first round, I definitely thought Jan was working his low kicks like he always does, landing big power shots, and Bogdan just always has his hands so low. But then the second round, he showed what he can do. He's durable, and he landed a big shot on Jan, and he put him down. And he landed a lot of ground and pound over 4 minutes, and all 3 judges scored a 10-8. So the third round, again, Jan recovered. He came back, and Jan won the third. So they called it a majority draw, but it still showed that he can fight an elite fighter. But at that time of Jan's career, I think we were getting the worst version of Jan. Now, his straight left is one of his biggest weapons. He's really a sniper. He comes from weird angles, but his main flaw here is he blocks with his face. That's all. He doesn't really. He's kind of like King Green, where it's high risk, high reward when he does land. We've seen it, but he has sniped every guy. He's fought Blachowicz. He sniped Krylov. He dropped Elikana. He dropped Span. He dropped Poaga. And in all those fights, he showed that he has this ability. But against Ankalaev is a great counter striker, and he's fought the best of the best. He fought the best striker in the division in Pereira, and he looked good doing it until the last fight where Pereira just swarmed him. Now, when you're looking at Bogdan here, he is durable, so he takes a lot of shots, but over time, over 5 rounds, I can see this playing out not so much in his favor, and I think the market sees that too. In the -500, I'm really not willing to lay it. I think we can sit and watch for an in-play. Maybe if Ankalaev starts to take some damage early, the line will swing. They think, oh, he's looking like he might show up again, which is possible, and then we just miss out on some plus money, which is fine. But I'm not willing to lay that price tag on Ankalaev. And I also looked ahead for what you might get in his method of victory play, and it's like -180 for by KO. If you're going to take him by decision, I just don't think Bogdan lasts 5 rounds. I think the KO is the way it's going to go. But again, the -180, I'm looking to try to get +110, +120 out of that number, because again, definitely it could go to decision. It's possible that Ankalaev could KO him. It's possible that Bogdan could KO him. So I'm not willing to really lay all those price tags. And what we've seen over those fights with Bogdan is that he can take some damage, and he has massive power. But again, hands way too low. He eats too many clean punches. He is tough as hell. He's dangerous early. So maybe we watch a live line there. I just think overall that's going to be a pass on my end there. I just think, maybe you mix in that method of victory if you wanted to. Maybe if you want to get creative, you could bet finish in the 4th and 5th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe possible. But again, I'm probably just going to lay off of this one. I think I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it. Initially, I liked Ankalaev against Roundtree there, but you were getting a better number, like in the -3 range. But I think it's going to be a pass, friends. So let's move on to the co-main. Steve Erceg taking on Ramazan Tamirov. The market opened at -150 on Urseg. Now it's ticked down to a near pick'em. Okay, that's interesting to me. So, Steve Urseg, he's fought in his last 5. He's fought Tim Elliott. He's fought Osborne, Moreno, Kai Kara-France, Pantoja. He's fought the elite of the elite in the division. And he's finished the junk of the division. He's finished the match now. He beat, not to say these guys are junk, but Snell, maybe on the junk side. But the average guys too. He's finished Costa. He's finished David Dvorak. He has, he just has better competition overall. He's a better technical boxer. He's got a great jab, proven cardio over 5 rounds. And the only issue with him is he gets hit way too much. For whatever reason, he doesn't use his range well enough. Now, Tamirov, we've only seen 2 fights of him in the UFC. Now, Charles Johnson was his last fight, and he looked pretty good through the first 2 rounds. Charles Johnson really pushed the pressure heavy in the third, and took the third and really had us questioning Tamirov in the 3rd round. Okay, the cardio question here. And the guy's carrying so much muscle, it's hard to maintain. But Charles Johnson he's at the top of the division too. He's in the top 10 for sure. But the fight before that, he fought CJ Varga, and he just showed his power, and he dropped Varga early. And before that, it was just regional wins. So we don't really have a ton of tape on this guy. We can see the power. And it's kind of worrisome with Urseg that he's been dropped by guys like Kai, but again, this guy's at the top of the division, but he's been rocked by Osborne. But he showed the ability to come back in all those fights except against Kai. And even that one, he got dropped stiff, but he recovered a little bit. But Kai, again, just precision shots. Now, can Tamirov get those precision shots? Can he drop him? The reach differential here is about 5.5 inches. Now that's concerning to me. And if Urseg's been working at all on working his range, it could be trouble for Tamirov. But Tamirov's a fast starter. He starts with big power. He comes out with constant pressure. He's explosive combinations, but he showed that he slows over 3 rounds. Now, this is a 3-round fight, and it's just hard to go against Urseg here. The level of competition that Urseg has faced, it's not even close. And maybe that's just because Tamirov is so early in his career, we haven't seen it yet. It could be a thing. But if he survives early, this fight is really going to be his fight to lose in 2 and 3. So, but he is hittable. So that's kind of that question too. And initially I thought a fair price on Urseg was -130. And now that it's ticked down a little, I think 1 unit play isn't the worst possibility for us to go with there. At a pick-em price tag, I'm willing just to take a guy that's tested in the UFC, a guy that's been around the block. He's fought for the belt. He's fought Pantoja. He's fought Kai Kara-France. He's fought Moreno. And Tamirov has fought Charles Johnson. Other than that, it's not a lot going on there. So I think we can lay 1 unit. I think we can also look and maybe lay half a unit on method of victory plays here. Urseg by decision. The guy doesn't carry a lot of power. Tamirov has shown that he can take damage and survive over 3. Maybe 3rd looks a little scary, a little hairy, but we can get through that and we can survive. And, we're getting a little plus money on Urseg there on the decision. So why not ride that a little bit? So I'm talking like total of 2 unit total. So we're going to do 1.5 on Urseg straight up and just 0.5 on the method. And I don't think it's a bad play because Tamirov, he just hasn't really been tested enough. Let's see it first before we go with him, and it'll be a fun fight nevertheless. One other thing we can also do, though, is we can wait for the live line. If Tamirov comes out hot like that, it might swing even more toward, or we can get a plus money number on Steve. And if he does survive, then we can look to drop another unit. But if he doesn't, then we can just lay off. That's another angle you can take if you didn't want to bet pre-fight. But I think the -110 is a fair line, and I think we are getting a little bit of value there, so might as well take it. Now, moving on to my favorite play, the knockout. I know it's kind of a scary one, but I like it. I mean, from what I initially saw, I'm not sold. And we're going to be looking at the Thomas Peterson, Walter Walker fight. Now, this is a fun fight. Johnny Walker's brother. I had no idea. You look close at this guy's face, though, and you see it. But he's just bigger, and he looks kind of different. He's got a beard. It's fun. But everybody's talking about Walker. Everybody's talking about Walter Walker, and he's on the record-breaking heel hook finish run. He's done 4 in a row. Now, that ties the record. I'm not sure who had the record, but he's tied. He's tied for it, at least in the heavyweight division, for sure. And he gets them quick. But he's landed against Sutherland, Njechiku, Mays, and Tafa. Heel hook, heel hook, heel hook, heel hook. 1 minute. Or in the first round for sure. Tafa was later, and he was trying to slap him after the bell. It was kind of laughable because he just had tapped or screamed, and the ref took it as a tap. But, these are really fast, and he's getting them. He literally just ran at one of the guys and tackled him, got down, dropped the heel hook, and finished. And he's laughing. He knows he can get this thing, and he's getting it fast. Now, Thomas Peterson, on the other hand, he's a wrestler. In his last fight, he fought Gulerhermpat. The guy is built like RoboCop. He definitely machined muscle a lot of there. He fought Petrino again, just muscle-bound, crazy power. He fought Dantel Mays, who they have a common opponent there. He fought Gadziev, who is a very powerful striker. He kind of reminds me of the 205 Russian guy. Very similar striking. And he fought Muhammad Usman. Now, he went 3-2 in that run. He lost to Petrino, but he was arguably winning. And the momentum was swinging towards him in the second and third round against Petrino. And Petrino is no slouch. He came up from 205. He's looking better at heavyweight against the competition. Maybe the competition's a little bit softer. But Thomas Peterson, Thomas the Train, he's got heavy, heavy wrestling. He was a Minnesota State champion twice. He went to junior college and was the national champion in junior college. The guy can wrestle. And he's got heavy top pressure when he gets down control. He wins positions. He doesn't force position. We saw that with Mays where he couldn't get the arm triangle locked up. So, because Mays' neck is like a tree trunk. So he couldn't lock this thing up. But he was smart and kept going back. He was comfortable winning decisions. He didn't really care. And he was still landing big ground and pound. Now, Walker in his last fight, like I said, Tafa heel hook, Dantel Mays heel hook, Kennedy Njechiku heel hook, Sutherland heel hook. And then he fought this Brzeski. And Brzeski never tried a heel hook, but he just was kind of laying on top there a lot, and the refs leaned Brzeski. I thought Walker did enough to win the fight, but, when you just lay on top and you don't do a whole lot, that's the risk you run. Either way, he lost it. So, but he's had four straight, and he's dangerous, really dangerous in that lock game, especially early when they're dry. And if he creates scrambles, he wants to have some chaos, he could really land it. But when they're on the feet initially, Peterson's got great boxing, and Walker has limited striking. He can land a big low kick here and there, but here's why I like my favorite play of the card, the underdog of the day, Peterson. He's got better offensive wrestling. He's better positionally, grappler, for sure from what we've seen. The heel hook overall is a low percentage submission. It just really is. I mean, Dana White called me the other day, friend of the show. He told me, look, the heel hook, it's not that big. It lands like 10% or less. So, can the fight be dictated on the feet? I think wrestling, we're going to kind of cancel. I think Peterson can really work some boxing, and if he does want to wrestle, he's got such heavy top pressure, I don't think Walker is going to be able to get up. Can he jump a heel hook? Sure. We run that risk, but it's early, and it's a 5-minute risk, I think, and if Peterson's smart enough, he knows what this guy's going to do. So did everybody else, but everybody else is kind of, they're kind of bums in the division, if you ask me, and Tafa could probably be fighting in the middleweight division, or the light heavyweight division. But as long as Peterson doesn't put himself in unnecessary scrambles, I think he can win rounds. I think he can ground and pound. I think the market is wrong here. I think it's closer to a pick'em because, that heel hook is in there. Can they box out on the feet? Will the wrestling cancel each other? Sure, pick'em price. But we're getting plus 150 on Peterson here. I like it. Let's lay a couple units. Let's lay 3 or 4. I like it because, on this price value, I'm telling you, it should be a pick'em here. Do we run the risk 50-50 game? Yeah, but we're getting blackjack here. We're getting 1.5. So the public sees the finishes, the heel hooks all in a row. I see the matchup different. Peterson doesn't fight that way. He's not gonna let Walker just run into him. He's got great defensive wrestling. I'm sure he's state champion, national champion, college. He can wrestle. So if Walker wants to wrestle him, good luck. The guy's big, but Peterson's strong. He's a tank. He's Thomas the Tank. Thomas the Train. And if Peterson stays disciplined, I think he's going to control this enough to win minutes, to win the fight. He's plus 150. He's a real betting dog. book it, come back and watch it next week, and you're going to thank me. Now, method of victory, let's lay off it. I think the over is probably good. If Thomas wins, he's probably going to win by decision. You can look at that if you like, you know. But to wrap it up, that's my official picks for the card. You know, last week it was a little bit rough on us. We lost one unit. What are you going to do? We've been crushing them. But let's ride Thomas Peterson. Let's look at Usyk live. Let's do a little live line. Let's just watch the main event. It's too big of a price tag there. But thanks everybody for watching. Let me know your favorite bet for the card next weekend in the comments. If you've enjoyed the breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mom. We don't have any female viewers. Tell your grandma. She might like it, you know, maybe. But, you know, we're going to start taking some calls on the show too. You know, we got a lot of friends of the show. So, Johnny P, we're going to be changing it to JonnyP MMA because apparently every name I pick is taken. So, but I have to wait a couple of days to change it. So, you know, let's just do that. It's JonnyP MMA. And I'll see you guys after the fights.